Story called The Blue Rose. Once there was an emperor in China who was very old. He had a daughter who was very beautiful, delicate, smallest feet in China, and who had exquisite taste in art objects, as the Chinese have tended to have. So the old emperor was going to die, but before dying he hoped to find a suitable match for his daughter. And his daughter announced that she would marry the man who could bring her a blue rose. Blue rose. Okay, so the word spread among the Chinese and beyond that the man who might want to marry the princess must provide a blue rose. A rich merchant decided he would try, and a warrior also tried. So the warrior went to a shopkeeper and said, "Find me a blue rose or you will die." The rich merchant went to a shopkeeper and said, "Please find me a blue rose and I will make you wealthy," or something. The shopkeeper who had been threatened by the warrior said, "Please give me 3 days." And in these 3 days he took a sapphire, gave it to a craftsman, and the craftsman carved a blue rose out of the sapphire, blue, and gave it to the warrior when the warrior returned 3 days later. The warrior then took the sapphire to the emperor and said, "I have the blue rose, I want to marry your daughter." The emperor called his daughter and said, "This warrior says he has a blue rose for you. Please take it and tell me if this is what you wanted." The princess examined it and said, "This is not a rose, this is a sapphire. I have lots of sapphires. No, this is not a blue rose. I will not marry this man." So the warrior went away disappointed. The merchant who had gone to a shopkeeper, to the merchant something different happened, because the shopkeeper had consulted his wife, and his wife said, "Go to the pharmacy, get a drug, a certain drug, a red drug as it turns out, apply this to the root of a white rose, and the white rose will turn blue." So the shopkeeper did this, and it turned blue. And the rich merchant came to the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper said, here is your blue rose." And so the rich merchant went to the emperor and said, "I have a blue rose, I want to marry your daughter." So the emperor called his daughter and said, "This merchant presents you with this blue rose and wants to marry you." The princess examined the blue rose and said, "I'm sorry, this is a white rose, which you have applied some dye to. The dye is poisonous. If a butterfly landed on this flower, the butterfly would die. No, this is not my blue rose." And so the merchant went away, disgusted and disappointed. Soon no one would try even to satisfy the princess, and days and weeks and months went by. Then one day a traveling musician was walking along, singing, playing his lute, and singing beautiful melodies. Soon a maid lured him to a house. It was kind of dark. This is the strangest part of the story. And the musician played some more. Sorry. And soon he could see 2 beautiful, gentle eyes and a beautiful girl. They apparently spent the night together doing what I know not. And in the morning, the musician had to go, but the princess said, "Go to my father, bring him this white rose, and tell him you want to marry me, if you want to marry me." And the musician said, "Certainly I will. I want to marry you." So he went to the emperor with a white rose and said, "Here's a blue rose. I want to marry your daughter." The emperor was puzzled, but he decided, since his daughter had the best, most exquisite taste in these matters, he would consult his daughter in this too. So he called his daughter, and he said, "This traveling musician wants to marry you, and he presents you with this blue rose. Would you like to marry him? And is this a blue rose?" The girl said, "Yes, it's the perfect blue rose that I've been looking for. Yes, I want to marry him." Well, everyone was a little puzzled, but they decided, since her taste in these matters was so subtle, so refined, she must be right. So she married the traveling musician. They lived near the sea and raised white roses and lived happily ever after. Clever.